I'm George Flynn. Welcome to In-Depth TV, where today we're going to talk about things that change people's minds. And you say to yourself, well, I make up my mind and nobody changes my mind. Well, I believe you'll discover that the power of suggestion can change people's minds. You say, well, nobody's going to suggest anything to me to change my mind. Well, maybe, maybe not. You may be listening in the morning, noon, in night. This will give you something to think about how suggestion changes your perception of things. Perception changes your choices. It changes your decisions and your behavior. And it has powers that change things about you and changes the whole framework in which you see something. Just suggestions. And you say, well, what are you talking about, suggestions? Well, a lot of advertising talks about suggestions and things that change your mind. You'll see a bottle of, we'll call it carbonated beverage. I won't call it Coke or Pepsi. And you'll see the cold water, it looks like cold water dripping down the side. All of a sudden, you're a little bit more thirsty. You'll see something saying, buy now. And you'll say, okay, maybe I should buy now. Those are just things that tell you what to do. And as long as they're not overly blatant and out there yelling at you, buy now, buy now, buy now, then you say, okay, maybe I will. Because in your brain, you've got this filter. And this filter allows things that are very gentle to come through, but things that are very assertive and aggressive, you just say, wait a minute, I'm not so sure that I want to. So that's part of the suggestion error, or things that happen that change your ideas. So let's see how things change your perception and can easily create what we call false memories. Now, false memories are not necessarily good and they're not necessarily bad. False memories are just your memories that you remember it one way and other people remember it another way. You may remember something from your childhood. You say, well, this is the way it happened. This is what happened. And then one of your, siblings or parents will say, it wasn't that way at all. That didn't happen that way. Have you ever had that happen to you? And you were sure that it happened this way, but maybe it didn't. Some people will tell you that your false memories are bad. Some people will tell you that they're good. Well, they're wrong. They're just wrong. Suggestion from an authority figure can often override your memory and create a new memory. So if you remember, let's say an automobile accident, car wreck, and you're in this car wreck and you remember somebody hit you from behind, and then a policeman comes up and said, well, I've got it on my dash cam where somebody hit you on the side. You said, no, they hit me from behind. I said, look, here's the visual memory. I'm the authority figure. They don't say that, but the authority figure, the policeman, says, okay, this is what happened. And all of a sudden, your memory changes, and it is exactly like the policeman said. He or she is an authority figure. Well, how do you utilize all of this information? Well, the first thing we've got to do is understand the extreme power of suggestion. You can be walking down the hall feeling fine, and somebody says, you look kind of peaked today. You look like you don't feel that good. And all of a sudden, you say, well, they must see something that I don't see. Maybe I don't feel good. And all of a sudden, or maybe slowly, you begin to feel worse and worse and worse that they were right. Or you're walking down the hall and you're feeling kind of low energy, and somebody said, "Man, you're full of energy." I said, "I am." All of a sudden, you find yourself full of energy. That's the potent power of suggestion. Well, changing perception means that there was a dog there and you saw it, and now as you remember it in that moment, there was no dog there, or that it was a kitten. Now, what am I talking about there? Sometimes you go looking for something in a cabinet and you're sure it's not there. And you're looking at it and looking at it and looking for it. You move on to another cabinet. Somebody comes up to you and says, "What are you looking for?" And you say, "Well, I'm looking for the jar of coffee." And they say, "Well, it's over in the cabinet." So, "No, I looked there. It's not there." And you say, "What do you mean? It's always there." And they said, "Well," and you say, "No, it's not there. I just looked there." And they said, "Well, let's go look again." You open up the cabinet. There it is, staring right in front. Has that ever happened to you? If it has, you were programmed to not see this. It was there all the time, but your perceptions were, it's not there. But who changes your perceptions? Your perceptions are changed. How they change? It's something that you experience every day because of the suggestions of others that your non-conscious mind believed to be true. And those suggestions completely overrode the inputs of the actual moment. So someone will say, "Well, you were doing great there. You did great." And you said, "No, I didn't. I didn't do well on the test." They said, "Oh, no, you did great on the test." Or playing a musical instrument, "You did great." You say, "Oh, I made mistakes and everything." But actually, whose suggestion does your mind believe? It usually believes the people, the outside inputs. Usually believes those. What does all that mean? All of that means be careful. Be very, very careful and vigilant about who you have surrounding you. They can either take you up to new heights or they can bring you down. So be careful about who is around you. Be careful about the positive people and the negative people. You want to have a clear vision of your ideas and your perception. Somebody bringing you down all the time, well, that's tough. Somebody bringing you up all the time, well, you may be up when you need to be wise about things. You may go out and spend money you don't need to be spending. So just be careful, be aware of the people around you that boost you up too much. Be aware of the people that pull you down too much. And you all know, if I mention one of those people, every one of you will come up with one of each of them. Every one. You have that person in mind that boosts you up all the time, yet you have the person in mind that brings you down all the time. So, how do you know? How do you know what to do? Just knowing that fact helps you, fight for your own perceptions. Well, changing perception can happen in advance by suggesting something that is like something political, being supported by someone you like and respect, or dislike and don't respect. So whatever the proposal is, if you like the person proposing it, you generally like the idea. If you don't like the person proposing it, you generally don't like the idea. So your brain will often adopt the opinion of the authority figure, and it'll stop its own processing of information. And that's what I'm trying to get across to you. Keep on processing that information. You don't need to just take the opinions of others. You've got your own opinion. You've got all of this education, all of this experience in your head, in your body. You can feel it. You've got your own opinion. Do not be susceptible to other people's opinions so much. Now you can take it in, and then you can make your decision yourself. A friend of mine used to call SNIOP, susceptible to the negative opinion of other people. Don't you be one. Don't be susceptible to the negative opinion of other people. If you're doing something and you're doing something that you think is well, you're doing it well, somebody else may come up and criticize you. But it goes back to that old speech, the man in the arena. It's not the guy that's griping about things. It's not the guy that's throwing suggestions out how you can do it better. No, it's the person in the arena, the person fighting, the person struggling, the person going out on a limb, doing their best. And yet, other people in the world think they have a license to come and complain you're not doing a good enough job. Well, they're not doing the job at all, but they'll complain about the person out there on the battlefield, on the front lines, how they're not doing it as well as the complainer would like for them to do it. So just make sure that you guard yourself against that. Now, a lot of suggestions trigger precisely the opposite behavior and the memory of what's being suggested. You see a sign, don't be afraid of anyone. Well, how'd that make you feel? Don't be afraid of anyone? Exactly. Don't be afraid of anyone. Right? Really? Yeah, you need to be afraid of some things. People with guns out pointed at you. Be afraid of them. Get away from them. Remember, it's your life. It's your opinion. You have a right to that life. You have a right to that opinion, just as much as anyone else does. And be sure you watch and choose what you listen to and who you talk to each day. The people you mingle with at the office or at the coffee shop, they're all filled with messages. Most people have no way to analyze that information that comes in. There are people out there that have their opinions. They think their opinions are correct. And there are people out in the world that think, oh, well, everybody else's opinion is correct. Mine must not be any good. Let's drop that subject. Your opinion is as good or maybe better than anyone else, especially as it comes to your life. Now, other people want you to live your life the way they want you to live your life for their benefit. Well, that doesn't sound safe or sane or rational. You're living your life because it's the only one you got. Your opinion, the only one you got. And it's your opinion. So all of these factors that are coming in every day, trying to change your opinion, and a lot of it is trying to get you to buy something and exchange money for goods or services from other people. Remember, it is your life. It is your opinion. It is your outcome that we're interested in. And I want you to have the best life ever. I'm George Flynn. You've been watching In-Depth TV. Stay tuned and we're going to show you even more about how opinions can be changed and how you can guard against just flagrantly abandoning your ideas and going with the opinions of others. Thank you. We'll see you in the next time.